my word, because obviously we haven't gone through that. I have to record.
Yeah.
So
So we just have to open up the spot here so we can put it in. Slide those this way a little bit.
اون آره خودمون روشن کرد. اینو
دیشب یه ویدیو از این دیدم.
چه خوب، خوش به حالت. من هیچی ندیدم بدون.
دیشب یه ویدیو از اینش هم نگاه کردم.
So this, it comes in this direction. So you have to take it, set it on the edge. You get someone hold it here. Someone goes to the other side, then you can slide it into position.
اینه فکر کنم باید بگیری.
Set it up on there, get it towards me. So, see where the air things are?
Mm-hmm.
That's where those will line up, right here, because that's your air blast to blow it up. So, this has to go towards you. I think ran all the way. Let me look over there. So you have to make sure that's up so that can pivot in. That needs, pin needs to be up. There, let me see if this side will go in. If this side will drop in, then we're lined up the way we need to. So I gotta tilt this thing out.
Tilt that out.
So now we're in position. So that's the clamp that goes back in and clamps it because it hooks under there and clamps it in place. So now we tighten this back down.
And should we tie this back?
But we want to get that pin in first.
Okay.
So you take that pin, rotate that the other way, and then you wiggle it until that actually goes down. So
Yeah,
did it go in?
it's in.
Okay, now you can tighten these up. And these are the clamps that hold it so it can't lift up over here. So there we go.
Mm-hmm.
So that sheet will come in now. The air will blow it up. It'll do it. It'll fold those back. It'll go under. We apply because we're applying glue here. Then it'll stick the glue down and all that stuff. Now, this raises up and down. This angle can shift back and forth. Depending on what the material is, you can do a lot of things with it. So you get a real stiff one, sometimes you want to tilt it back more. So it gets up in there and folds it back and already gets it kind of pre-broke so it can dive through. So it flips it so it's more like this and it goes through easy. So that lets you play with it a little bit. Plus you can raise it up and down for thicker materials, thinner material. And then this roller right here, this adjustment right here, it raises up and down too. So this is kind of your, this is kind of your crush roller. So you can lower that down till it's sitting right on the roller or up in the air. If it's trying to crack or something like that, you can take some pressure off of it. And then this is the spring tension for this roller because it drives all these rollers. So all these rollers are turning at that time. And then this is you got to make sure you keep glue off this right here because that's actually a roller too. You get glue on it, it'll stop spinning and it can cause it to scratch sometimes depending on what it is. So you want to make sure those are free. It might be a little low right now. We won't know till we do it. So we'll probably raise it up a little bit. But it looks low. But now you're ready to set your feeder. Now you're ready to start dropping some stuff in and we'll kind of go from there.
Okay. خب فهم این فولدر اینه یه چیزی که توضیح داد راجع به این برگشت گفت که چون این ضخیم تره بعد درست نیست برعکسش کن نصفش
قاطیه.
آره
اینم قاطیه. خب
نه درست
درسته.
اونم میذاریم اینم میذاریم گفت قبل از این بذارین اینو با دست چیزش باید بکنی بشکنیش
کجاشو؟
همه جاشو این دوتا این دوتا
یعنی هر جا که خط تا داره فول داره باید همش رو بشکنی؟ میدونم
آره.
باید چند تایی بشکنی یا دونه ای بشکنی؟
نه همش
مثلا دسته اینجوری؟
آره. بعد اینجوری میشکنی برمیگردونی سر جاش که نرم بشه
به خاطر اینکه ضخامت داره
آره که راحت اون اجارم همینطور
اینا رو شما یکمشو کردی
یه ذره صبح چیز کردیم توضیح میداد
این وسط چی؟
نه
فقط همین کنارا
مهم. خب آره درست
فقط برای فولر یا مثلا برای کل
نه
جاوا؟
متریال کلا
فقط
که
وقتی زخیمه باید این کارو بکنه
آره سرشم میذاریم داخل آره این بدین صورت میره دیگه بعد چیز بشه وسط این بعد وسط باشه اوکی
When you do this, you always want to work with a single sheet because you're trying to get this stuff square, it's going to mess with you. So just work with one in the beginning.
اوکی
That way you
اوکی
can move it around. So now you're going to have to move that one back forward.
این وان
Then you want it right down the middle. Like that.
little bit
I think it's still, hold on, I think that nut right there you got to mess with, so you kind of want to give yourself an air gap right there, so when you tighten it up, it's not, because that'll hold the front end up. There you go, that one have it. There you go. Now let's see if they're snug, but we can set those once we set the size. So,
and push
you're going to have trouble getting this belt in there on that because you're going to squeeze everything tight together. So you're probably going to do this with 4 belts. So this would come up over inside this belt and you'll line up on that tab. So I'll show you how to do this side and you guys can do that side. So that's kind of how you want it set. Now, once we get everything in play, we'll turn the feeder on and we'll move this belt out right to the edge of this.
Oh.
That way, that has trouble dipping underneath that. You won't get sheep kicking out.
It wasn't on its way.
Oh, here.
Oh.
A little closer. You want about one. I can't see it, so you want about 1 millimeter max. Oh, there you go. It stays there perfect. Perfect. So then you want to run this one. You want to run this tab at the back side of that. That way you've got as much stuff to keep it square as it's going in. So just put that right there. Back it back up. Perfect.
That's good.
You can put the longer ones in if you feel like it's trying to twist coming out crooked or something. If you can't get it straight, you can put the longer one in, wherever they went. You can put those in, and that'll help keep it straight just a little bit longer if you need to. Most of the time you don't need to. So now you're set up, I would bring those two in and just give it a little bit of lift like that. And like I say, you want them off the thing. So what I typically do with these, because this moves on this one, I'll typically take these.
Oh, move this one, right?
Yeah. I'll typically take these, put my fingers underneath it, and then I'll tighten it up, and I'll make that one match this one. Slide it back to the same location here.
No, this one.
Just a little bit that way. And then get those similar in distance, and then kind of bring that down. Bring that down on your hand again, and then that way it's setting your half-inch height. Then loosen that one up, and then remember you move it from over here. Then you can raise that up, and you just want it like that. Then if you have to move one in, you just make that minor adjustment on it, bump this one in a little bit to make it the same. There you go. And now, these aren't rubbing the belt because that'll just wear the belts out. You're just supporting the tail end. It should be even. You don't want to really be lifting from one side. Unless you have a window or something going on, you don't really want to lift one side to the other too much. But if there's a window cutting this, you might want to do that. So, yesterday we had to set these because of what we were doing and because it was a crash bottom, so you had to get on those lead points of this. I try to run these, the middle ones, I try to run in line with my vacuum belt as much as I can. When you get in a crash bottom, it changes a few things, but these I try to run in line with that as much as possible. It just makes things feed straighter and more consistent. So that's the main reason I do it.
Yeah.
I'll move that one in. And then obviously you want the two outside ones to be similar so it's not driving too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to line it up with these belts. We may be we'll do those after we get these belts out to the edge of the thing. Then we'll line these up with those belts, or we can just go so much distance off of these or something like that. So just kind of play with them. I'll move this one in a little bit and try and match that one. This particular thing, I typically run it with just two because you don't need them.
Oh, for this?
Yeah, this I wouldn't. I typically don't run four. I just run two because you just don't need that much drive. And the ones on the outside can make you twist sometimes. So, I know he's trying. he's trying to do this setup without me really leading you guys, so you guys can kind of figure it out. So let's kind of wait on him at this point. Because it gets
We put this paddle same because this edge is same, right?
Yes.
It's not up and down,
Yeah.
for example. Okay.
So yeah, if you have one that's gonna cut short, cut
Yeah.
long, you'll have to. You want your support even to here, but that depends if there's a window cut in it. Sometimes you can have to lift this window real high. Sometimes you'll lift these real high, and so it'll make the sheets kind of buckle and separate, and it'll let that sheet fall and take that sheet by itself. Because if there's a window, if there's a window here, you've got to get this high enough that that next sheet won't snag that window. So you've got to get this high enough that it can fall and slip under that window. Because if it's down too far, it'll just keep hooking that window and tearing it. So that's where the different heights that you raise this comes into play.
If the job has a window, right?
Yeah, if it has
You
a
should
window cut in.
put another paddle
Yeah,
under the
you're probably
window.
going to move this side in really high and lift this side up so it can get past that window. Because that
Okay.
window will snag the other window all day long. You'll fight it. So just
Okay.
raise it up, give it a little bit where if anything it like drops that bottom sheet and then it'll take it. So you kind of got to time it and get it just right. And you'll see it like dropping one and then okay, it'll run after that. But you got to play with it a little bit. And then if you set it up for that much and then somebody decides to put that much in it, it changes it, then you got to change it a little bit. 'Cause depending on the material, you can load this all the way up to here, depending on what it is and if it's separating good. Most of the time on big stuff, I'm typically right around
Oh.
in here just because of the weight, and it causes problems. But certain jobs, you can load it all the way to the top and it'll just eat it. But like
For example, for this job,
this
can
job,
how many we can put this
well,
area?
because it has that one little thing in it, that little lock tab.
Oh, okay.
Because we ran that and we didn't nick that. That was causing a problem. So you're probably only going to be able to throw maybe
Oh.
an inch at a time in there because of that. Now, if we notch that, you could probably load it pretty deep because that was the only thing hooking and making it snag stuff.
For this one is easy, right? We can put more of
No,
them,
that
right?
That one you could probably load up like nobody's business because there's nothing on that one to mess with you. It's just flat and straight line and
Yeah.
smooth.
It's easy.
Yeah, that one you could probably load
Yeah.
up about like that. Because you'll have times where you have to have more weight to get it to take it. Sometimes, not all. Sometimes. So I'm going to show you something real quick while we're waiting on him to get back. That's how you basically set your buckle plate.
We can do cover CD with this.
Can do what?
We can do cover CD with this same folder. Cover CD, CD, rings, and show film, video,
Oh.
cover.
Possible. So the way you set this is you get that in there and you see how that's right there and that's straight. You see how that side's not wanting to let that go up and it's kind of pushing it down. So these typically, the way you set these is you bring that sheet in until it's perfectly straight up and down here. Then you lower those down to it. And then that sets your buckle height going through. Now, this is a gauge that's on there that you can slide back and forth, and you can actually, if you need them all to be the same, you can set this gauge and come down, slide it up, touch it, slide it up, touch it. So you can use this as a gauge to set those heights. So if you got a big long thing, you need them to be perfect, you'll use this, slide it down, and then set that as you go across there. Just slide it up, touches it, touch it, touch it. It's a gauge to get those all in the same place. I try to set center. You can see where that little roller is. Let's see if I can find center. So that's center right there. And it's not that slit. It's half of that slit. So you try to run center when you can. You don't have to. You don't have to be perfect because there's so much going on. It don't matter. But if you were trying to run center because of whatever you were doing, you could do that. And then these can come off. These, see how these are longer? Those are longer. We'll probably have to slide all of these up because you want that sheet to be able to get in there, and this can cause it to not fold down because this is really stiff. So we'll move these up to where they're just real short. But you can run them out, like if you were shooting that full panel up here, you can do that. That way it holds that panel, because that panel will get up there and have curl and it'll just miss it.
Yeah.
So that's to help it guide into it and actually hit it.
These are different because we can use for different size.
Yeah, different tabs.
Yeah.
They could have been running something that was just crazy on the lead edge. You never know.
Oh, can we change it, right?
Yep. I've ran jobs where I had to take them off because it was so stiff it wouldn't let it flip. It would come up here and get stuck because it couldn't flip past that, and it would act like a brake and it wouldn't let it go through. I try to keep all of these the same direction when they're tight. That way when you go in there and loosen one, you tighten it back up, you know if it's straight up, it's tight.
Oh,
That way, like if that one was over here, I
yeah,
would know that one was
it's
still
not
loose.
curved. Yeah.
I know I'm tight, so I try to set all those the same to know where it tights up. That way you don't
Perfect.
you look down in there and all of a sudden see it doing something weird. It's like, oh, one of them's loose, and it's just doing this floating up and down thing. So that's basically how we set that. Now, these rollers are going to be what hold that tab over once we fold it and everything. So these rollers are going to come out here, and we're going to put it on the outside edge of this.
These rollers?
Yeah, this one will slide out, but we can't do that till we feed one through, get the plows in place, get all that, make sure we're square and all that. Then we can move these and set them where they need to be. So this, there's a bolt on each end of it. You can see this rat right here.
Okay.
So when you're running something really stiff, you move it to the back side. That gives it enough flexibility to get up there. If you're running something that's really
for
thin,
flexibility material, right?
Yeah. So you would move this to the front side, which moves this roller to this roller. So those just come up and move in. And your air is there. So we could typically move that air to there if we need to. I'm going to put it back here so we can get a good start. So we may move those forward one, or we may pop this out and scoop this backward. And that's probably what we'll do. We'll just move it backward.
For flexibility material, we should move this area, for example, air.
And for any of them, really, you want to be here. So when that sheet gets out there, it flips up. But sometimes back here, it gives it air sooner. So it starts floating on that cushion of air back here, so it gets it up.
Yeah,
or
great.
if it's thin stuff, because when you move this here, it has to be there. So we may move that forward, I don't know. Or we may move this back. So we gotta get all the plows and stuff in place and get it to the steps, and then okay, now we can either go forward or backwards.
We can put this object, this area just, or move other.
It can move
anywhere.
This can go anywhere on the machine.
Plus this job is easy, so we should near
Yeah,
the right?
typically when you do jobs with the tipping plate, you're gonna have your air nozzles there.
Oh,
So if you have to take this in and out, you know where
Yeah.
to put it back. So that's the main thing.
oh.
And you know whether you were running the job with the air nozzle here or the air nozzle back here. So it just depends. This particular one, because it's stiff, I moved it back to get it to push it up more.
I
So
got
we'll
you.
see. Stiff does make it tricky sometimes. Very tricky sometimes.
Very.
So this eye, we're right here. I'm gonna move that eye to where it's in the middle. Down here. Is it in the center?
No, it's more,
More? More
no,
towards
more.
me?
Yeah, more. It's good.
Center up?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. Because that eye can actually see these things sometimes. And if it is, it'll give you trouble.
Oh,
And it don't see it all the time, just sometimes. And it's just like, eh. So you gotta find that sweet spot, put it in it, just kind of leave it there. I know he was wanting to do this, but I think timeline-wise, we probably ought to move on. So, we're gonna get the plows. So to do these, we're gonna
The
use
small
the
size.
small plows.
the ball.